What's going on, everybody? Vince Goodrum here. It is Tuesday afternoon. Reason why I'm making this video is a lot of people are upset about Hadi Choopan not doing anything as Mr. Olympia. He's not representing the IFBB too well. Nick Trigill made a very nasty video about Hadi Choopan. He did the same thing with Big Ramy as well. RX Muscles discussing it as well. And now it's my time to discuss it. So, first off, Nick, if you had any concerns as far as this is concerned, you should take it up with the athletes rep Bob Ciccarello. But since you two are on the outs, or at least you're on the outs with Bob, from when I spoke with him, says he doesn't really give two wet dongs about you or anything like that. I'm going to explain something to you. And I think part of the issue really is the fact that most people in the bodybuilding and fitness industry have never held a real job before. So let the great one actually explain. Now, most people used to know I used to work at Verizon. Verizon paid me a handsome salary, very handsome salary. Once I left Verizon, if someone goes and asks me a question about any type of Verizon service there, and it's something simple, I got no problems answering it. But anything other than that, I'm going to tell them just to give a call to Verizon. You want to know why? Because Verizon's no longer paying me anything in order to do the work that I used to do. That's just plain it there. Mr. Hadi Choopan won the Mr. Olympia. The Mr. Olympia is a title. It's not a job, okay? It is not a job. That is not a that money that he won in the Mr. Olympia is not a salary for him to travel all over the world and represent the or do things for the IFBB. Now, if Jim Mannion wants to start giving salaries to Mr. Olympias to go around the world, that's one thing, but it's not. Mr. Olympia, for the most part, is a title. Hadi Choopan won it fair and square, and it should be treated as such. There's been no other Mr. Olympia, Larry Scott, Arnold, Samir, Lee Haney, or anything like that, has been required to do anything other than win the title and then possibly try to go and train and win it next year. So, what makes Hadi Choopan any different than any other Mr. Olympia? He's not required whatsoever to get on social media, which I'm going to bring that up in just a minute there. He's not required to go on social media. He's not required to go visit expos. He's not required to have seminars or anything like that. He's not required to do Richard Simmons aerobic sessions or anything like that. There's nothing required of Hadi Choopan. Again, Mr. Olympia is a title. It's not a job. So let's go ahead and go on to social media here, okay? Now, the reason why Hadi Choopan isn't doing any social media or as much as what Nick Trigill and everybody else does is, and I'm just going to take a good guess, Hadi Choopan's Iranian, okay? Now, in Iran, social media isn't exactly allowed in that country. We have a lot of restrictions. We have a lot of sanctions against Iran. In fact, Hadi wasn't able to compete at the 2018 Arnold Classic because Donald Trump banned all travel there. So Hadi Choopan is not going to be on social media because of the origin of country is. Even though he's right now, I believe, in America, that still doesn't mean anything because Hadi still has to come back to Iran at some point in time there, okay? So if he goes and does something in America and it isn't all cool with the people that are running Iran, when he gets back, they're going to put a foot in his butthole. You know what I'm saying? Just keeping it real and telling it to you like it is. So Hadi has to be very careful with his social media. That's just my guess. Also, there's a lot of things that, has been discussed. Hadi Choopan is deaf. He's mostly deaf there. So you go and ask him a question, you got to yell in his ear like, ah! Or something like that. I'm just messing. But he is partially deaf there. So communication is going to be compounded with the fact that he doesn't speak any English whatsoever. You know what I mean? He speaks no English. So you got a guy that speaks no English, that is partially deaf, and lives in a country in which social media is a, you know, there's not really much he can actually do. That was the same situation as Big Ramy, but Big Ramy wasn't in as bad a situation as Hadi, because Hadi is in Iran, freaking Iran. They throw gay people off buildings and stuff. You know what I'm saying? They hang them up from cranes and everything like that. I mean, they beat up women and stuff there. Iran is not a place you want to go and socialize on social media there. It's just not the place there. You'd be better off doing social media from Cuba than Iran. Just keeping it real with you. You know what I'm saying? But even with all that said, I'm going to say this one more time. Hadi Choopan is a Mr. Olympia. That is a title. It is not a job. He is not getting a salary for it. So if he decides not to do anything except eat Frito-Lays and drink beer and watch wrestling, then that's his business there, That's his business. Plain and simple. But he can't drink beer because, again, he's in Iran. No alcohol allowed, you know what I mean? You see my point, folks. That's all I got to say for right now. Like and subscribe to the Vince Goodrum channel. Click the link below. Also visit vincegoodrum.com. And as always, peace and soul.